Don't fuck with the Chuck!
Never grow old, Michael.
The blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
Showtime.
Hey everybody, it's Ryan with Sinister Scripts Podcast. I'm joined here by my co-host.
What's up? This is David.
And we just wanted to do a little review tonight. We're going to be talking about the movie A Quiet Place Day 1, which just recently released into theaters. But before we get into that movie, if you haven't already, go out there and subscribe to the podcast. You can find it on anywhere where your podcast needs are met. So you can find it on Apple Music. You can find it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, all those spots. Yes. You can also find us on TikTok at Sinister Scripts Podcast. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. So go out there and give us a follow. We post a lot of daily horror content, mostly on TikTok, but we do post on the other platforms as well. So
yes, please give us a like and follow.
So we're going to be talking a little bit about Quiet Place Day 1, which, like I said, came out just a couple months back. Yep. David and I saw it in the theater, and so we've just kind of been lazy and haven't really had a chance to get together.
I mean, we have lives.
That's true. It's true. So now we've had to go back through and be like, okay, what happened in this freaking movie again?
So forgive us if we don't do the greatest of jobs on this one. we're not coming out of it fresh. So,
but for those of you who recall, this is the third in the trilogy now. So we've had Quiet Place Part 2. Mm-hmm. Quiet Place was the first one, which was written and directed by John Krasinski. Yeah. And then if spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the first one, you need to go back and watch it because John Krasinski's character passes away. And in the second movie, it focuses on his wife, who is, funny enough, his real wife. Yep. Emily Blunt, and the children. So that's part 2. Part 3 is kind of sort of a prequel, is what they're trying to make it out to be, because we really haven't gotten a lot of details into the backstory of.
Yeah, I mean, it straight up is a prequel. I mean, it's when they first arrived, which I always kind of wondered. You always want to wonder that, where do these things come from? How does it look like? They just show up out of the blue, or are they from outer space? What are we doing here?
Exactly. So I was a big fan of the first two, and so I was really excited to see this one. Yeah. What I wasn't prepared for was this movie was not what I thought it was going to be, but that's not a bad thing.
No.
I went into this kind of expecting, like David said, a lot of background into these aliens and where they came from, why are they here, just more of a historical, if they're prequel, you're supposed to get an origin story.
Exactly.
We didn't necessarily get that. We got a couple of pieces, which I think they're going to use to kind of continue
the franchise.
Yeah, building this whole world around these creatures and kind of the end of the world scenario. But anyway, we'll get into that a little bit more. Let's go ahead and let's start with a little bit of background on this movie. So this one was also written and produced by John Krasinski, produced by Michael Bay. It stars Lupita Nyong'o, Joseph Quinn, which, if you know him as Eddie from Stranger Things fame, and also, I'm gonna butcher this name, Jimon Hounsou.
Who's in
everything. Gladiator. He's Russell
Rebel
Crowe's.
Moon.
Yeah, he's Russell Crowe's counterpart in Gladiator. That's the first thing I remember him from vividly.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
I still haven't seen that. I'm a piece of shit. I know.
You haven't seen the first one,
dude. I don't watch it Marvel. Okay.
That's true. You don't. Well, you're not really into him to begin with.
No, I think I've seen a few of the Spider-Mans and that's it.
A few of the
Spider-Mans. None of the Avengers. None of the no Marvel. I'm more I like DC more, but their movies.
Their movies
suck
are
dick.
Trash, dude.
Except for Batman.
Which one though? The Christopher Nolan one?
Of course.
That last one was shit, dude. That last one was 4 hours of sitting in a black room. One with fucking Sparkle Vampire.
Oh yeah, but that's not Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying that one was not good.
I liked it.
It was way too fucking long.
Whatever. Eat a dick. It was great.
It was
all right. We're not talking about fucking Batman. We're talking about Quiet Place Day One. So let's start off with a little bit of plot. We're going to kind of break this up into pieces. This movie starts with Samira, who goes by Sam in the movie. This is Lupita Nyong'o's character.
Yep.
She is a terminally ill cancer patient who's living in hospice in New York City, or just outside of New York City.
Just outside, yeah.
Just her and her cat Frodo, which is the most badass name for a cat. I'm a cat person.
Yeah.
David is not. But this whole movie, I told David, if the fucking cat dies, I'm walking out of here. I don't know if I would have, but
this cat must have been related to Ripley from Alien.
maybe.
Or no, Jonesy from
Jonesy?
Alien. Your cat's Ripley.
My cat's name is Ripley after Alien, so there's a little tidbit for me.
Frodo is like, spoiler alert, he does not die. He is like one of the only surviving
He probably should have died. He probably should have died at several different times, or he almost got people killed for being a dick because cats are dicks.
Yeah, but I mean, like, not to jump ahead, but that part where they're in the sewers and they're floating in the water, that cat's like chill as fucking can be.
He's just like riding on the waves.
Name
like,
one other cat who would be like that.
No, my cat would have freaked out. Like the minute those things came, she would have been like, "Wow!" and I'd been like, "Everyone's dead."
No, that cat was awesome.
Anyway, sorry, back to it. Distraction. Sam is living with her cat Frodo in hospice. Ruben, who is like the head nurse, I guess, convinces her to go into the city for a show in Manhattan. It's like a marionette show.
Yeah. Only if they can get pizza.
Right. And she only agrees if they can get pizza because she's got a spot that it was in, I don't remember where it was at. It wasn't in Manhattan. Was it in Queens? Queens sounds right.
Maybe.
Or Harlem.
Harlem sounds more because it was like a jazzy club.
Yeah. So anyway, she wants to go to a place where she has some emotional attachment and memories from, and get this pizza from a specific place because she used to with her dad. So that's the only reason she agrees is if we can get real fucking pizza, because apparently outside of New York it's not the same.
I guess not.
I also will think that New York in general they suck. New York pizza sucks. Sorry. Chicago all the way, deep dish or get out. Don't get me wrong. I will never turn down pizza. I've eaten some shit pizza.
Oh, we all have.
And shit pizza is better than no pizza.
That is true.
But Chicago over New York all day, so we can maybe fight about that. I know a lot of people are like, I shouldn't have to fold it in half and drink the fucking grease.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, I shouldn't have to like eat this giant pie substance of a pizza with a spoon.
Yes, you should.
I mean, I'm not a fan of the Chicago style. But I mean, like you, I'm like, hey, shit pizza is better than no pizza.
Yeah, this will be our last episode of Sinister Scripts podcast because I didn't realize that I was partners with a savage who eats. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to Chicago this weekend and I'm gonna freaking devour.
So get you some this weekend.
I'm gonna get my fix. So anyway, sorry. So yes, she wants to go get pizza, real pizza. So while they're in the city, they're going to the show, and the group notices meteors falling from the sky, and this is kind of the beginning of like the oh shit moment where shortly afterwards these creatures attack a crowd, and a meteor hits an ambulance as Sam is outside in the street and knocks her unconscious.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of like the first intro where they get on the bus, they try to return because they realize that something is wrong, but at that point,
like sirens, like cop cars, like ambulances,
helicopters
like just flying through everywhere. Everyone's like, oh shit, panicked, and they don't know what's going on.
Yep.
So.
And then stuff starts falling from the sky, which naturally you would watch, and then things start getting hit, and that's when she gets knocked unconscious. So she wakes up inside of the puppet theater. Frodo the cat is there, and other survivors. And Henry or Henri, I'm not sure how I don't remember how it's pronounced, but this is Jimon Hwansu. His character tells her to be quiet. So as soon as she opens her eyes, it's like she's gasping, she's been knocked out, and then he's like immediately quiet.
Yeah.
So they start hearing announcements from the military helicopters that are saying, be quiet and hidden, and the authorities are in place. They're going to come rescue people.
Yeah.
Sam they see fighter jets out. They walk up to the top of the stairs, open the door, and they see fighter jets, blowing up the bridges.
Yeah, try to quarantine them onto the island.
Exactly. So they're quarantined onto Manhattan. They destroy all the bridges, preventing the creatures and people from leaving the island. And so at that point, one of the survivors that's in there starts to panic, and Henry accidentally kills him because he's putting his hand over his mouth. Remember his kid sees it. His kid was like,
his kid was like, uh-oh. But I mean, like, kudos to these people for figuring out that quickly that they need to stay the fuck up. Like, just shut up. Don't say anything. Don't make any noise. Like, you'd think we as people, like, they
Yeah.
wouldn't catch on that quickly, especially the government and everybody telling people, hey, everybody be quiet. Like, to me, I was like, oh, shit.
But I did think that was a little bit. That was I guess one of my nitpicks where I was like, okay,
Yeah.
how do they like out of all this like terror and panic and like
Carnage
and like these
chaos.
aliens are attacking these people and they've just had buses and stuff get hit with meteors that they're like, hey, maybe we should just try not screaming.
Let's just try to shut up. I mean, somebody may have been like, seen Jurassic Park. They're like, don't move. Maybe they can't see if you don't move, and then maybe that's where it graduated.
I mean, it's
that's
I don't
what
know,
I would
but
do.
I guess I guess maybe it's just natural to like try to get away from
Like
all
hide.
of the.
Hide like a little bitch. Don't make any noise and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I guess now that's what I'm gonna do if I ever am in a situation like that. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna be like, all right, get away from all the people and try to find a quiet place.
Throw
But,
a rock at somebody you
quiet
don't like.
place. See what I did there?
Yeah.
That was not intended. So yes, so we're at the point now where there are a bunch of people holed up in this theater. So that night, as they're hunkered down, the power grid gets cut and all the power's out, and that causes the first really like tense moment in the movie whenever the emergency generator kicks on.
Because they had to go on the roof to try to fix it. Or
It was in the alley. They heard it and they went outside, and that's when
they're trying to
Ruben
cut it off.
Ruben he's reaching behind it. He couldn't quite reach it. Finally, he got it turned off, and you kind of hear this skittering,
The chittering.
and that's where like I think they like really are successful with this movie. Is like the sound is really good. Like everything is supposed to be quiet. Everyone's being quiet, so you hear every little like scuttle and scuffle, and like the can gets kicked in the street. Like they do a really good job kind of building that tension with like. As soon as that generator kicked on, everybody in the theater was kind of like, ooh, like, oh shit.
Here we
and we
go.
thought we were good. Ruben flips it off, but as he's stepping away, his shirt gets caught on like a nail.
Oh, that's
and it
right.
rips. And as soon as the rip sound, he gets freaking
He gets
annihilated.
Annihilated, yes.
Exactly. So, so Ruben attracts the creature. And so Sam takes Frodo, and she decides it's time to leave now. So she's like, all right, I'm going to Harlem. It was Harlem.
Yeah,
We were right. Yeah. So going to Harlem to get pizza. She's on this mission, which I kind of think is funny because like in the midst of all this chaos, it's just like, okay, shit's like I'm dying.
Yeah,
I have cancer.
Given her situation,
The world looks like it's going to shit right now. I'm like, fuck this. I'm just gonna go get this pizza I want and like fuck all these other people.
I think I would do the same thing too. I'd be
What
like,
do you
I
have
may
to
as
lose?
well at least get a good slice of pizza before I die.
What do you have to lose? Like,
Exactly.
So she heads for Harlem, and the military announces that it's preparing to evacuate civilians on the seaport from the South Street seaport. So the creatures can't swim. So they've identified that they can't swim. They've blown up the bridges, and so they're basically like, all right, if you're alive on the island, get to this location. They're evacing people in the what are those things called? Like big barges, basically. Like not trolleys. That's a fucking train.
The boat.
Yeah. It's like a ferry. That's it.
Ferry,
That's the word I'm looking for.
That's the ticket.
It's like, what is it, a tugboat? Like, no, ferry, yes. So they got the ferries, and they're evacuating people. So the only problem is when they make this announcement, every fucking jabroni comes out of the woodwork.
Oh,
like,
my God. Yeah,
dragging suitcases down the street. And I'm like, y'all, like, you got 1,000 fucking people, like, crawling out of rubble. Like, hey, let's just, like, march on down to, like, well, might as well just be a fucking marching band.
Yeah, I mean, this was like, it was like the entire street, like, from the width of it, like, was shoulder to shoulder, like, filled with people, like, 30 people back, like, deep. And you're right, like, everybody was, like, kind of running into stuff, bumping into things, and, like, no creatures are coming at all, but you're like, what's the deal? Like, because they're making hella noise.
Yep.
And so
it was the suitcase wheel that was like wonky that started like making a lot of noise, and
I think that's what eventually
that's what did them in, because the creatures came in and they attacked, and then basically causes like a stampede.
Well, and she I think realized it too, and she turned around and went the
opposite direction.
She was like,
exactly.
Nope.
Yeah, so she went the opposite direction, and that's when her and Frodo got separated, and I almost walked out. But
yeah, I think like the first time they got separated. Don't they get separated a couple times?
yeah, because the cat's a dick, and he's like, danger, I'm gonna go over here.
Yeah, he's like, peace out.
Yeah, hey, good luck, don't make any noise, I'm super light on my feet.
Yeah, sucks to be you.
So this is kind of like the first, I'll call the first act. So you kind of see she's heading to Harlem to get her pizza. We know now sound. They've discovered they can't swim, which if you remember from the second one, that kind of carried over.
See, I have to rewatch the second one. I don't remember it.
Yeah, they were like, they found out, and they were like, oh, they have people they were on a little island or something, and like they had the boat. But then one of them, like, attached to the boat, like hitched a ride on the boat. It's like they're not dumb creatures, but
Yeah.
anyway,
They just can't swim.
exactly. So yeah, so as we enter Act 2, we finally meet Eric, who is played by Joseph Quinn. Or
It's like the craziest entrance to a movie ever. Like he just pops out of a flooded subway.
He does.
tunnel.
He does. He's like he hops out of there, the flooded subway, and he first thing he sees is fucking Frodo.
Yeah.
So he gets out of there and he grabs Frodo and he follows Frodo back to Sam, who's like in an alley.
Yeah.
And so she's trying to convince him to go south. You know, they're kind of like mouthing to each other and pointing like, you go that way. That's the evacuation point. But he's kind of in shock and decides to just kind of.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be by himself.
Right.
Like he's totally freaked out. And she
Right.
doesn't want him around because obviously she just wants to be left alone. She
Right.
just figures she's probably better off on her own anyways, kind of thing. But yeah, this poor dude, he was like, please take me with you.
Yeah, I but I thought he did a pretty good job of like
yeah.
I thought that Joseph Quinn did a great job with kind of portraying that
The terror.
the terror of like what's going on and being like, what the fuck do I do? Like I just don't want to be alone.
I just popped out of a subway.
And I thought he was like an exchange student, or he was there working on
think
Wall Street.
so.
Like he wasn't from the
No,
US.
that's for sure.
I mean, I know
that.
the actor is English. He's from England, but I didn't know. They basically made it sound like he had no friends here. He had like his friends
he
were
didn't know
dead.
anybody,
His family
yeah.
wasn't here, so like he just wanted that kind of companion. And that's where this movie was different. Like I was saying before, is this it is action. There are some moments of tension, but also I think it's the sense of like not being alone.
Yeah.
And like kind of she was pushing him to survive, and he also gave her a reason to keep going.
Keep going on. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
That's a
So
perfect analogy. Yeah.
I thought they did a great job with that. I thought that their chemistry on screen was really good. So, they end up kind of together, you know, tracking through, and they follow Sam back to her apartment because she has to get. She's looking for medicine.
Oh yeah,
Because she has like these like patches that I think are probably pain relief.
Yeah.
And so she goes to her apartment. While there, Eric finds out that she is a poet. She's been accomplished published poet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have a really. I thought that was like a pretty intense set of scenes where like they're in this apartment and he's finding out a little bit more about her life, and a thunderstorm happens.
Yeah.
And they can finally talk because the rain drowns out the sound. And so when the lightning strike, remember they were screaming.
They were like raging.
They were, yeah, they were like, as soon as the lightning was striking, it was super loud. They were like yelling and screaming. So I think it was just like them, like their frustration, their fear, like everything that they've had to like bottle
letting
up.
out all their emotions at once.
Exactly. Very cathartic.
Yes.
Then the following morning, Sam leaves for Harlem. And she leaves Eric behind. So he wakes up and she's gone.
She's dipped out.
But he finds her, and they continue their journey together. So he's kind of like this bad rash that won't go away.
You just can't get rid of him.
And it's funny because it's like that whole relationship. But then I think that she kind of likes him being there. So she's kind of like, you're annoying me. But okay,
I'll
fine.
let you tag along.
Exactly. So Sam and Eric, they actually alert the creatures, and they have to flee into the subway. So they have to go into the subway. This is the subway scene you're talking about, where they flee into the subway and they end up going into a flooded portion of it.
Yeah.
So with no way out, they have to wade out into the water and
Go through the tunnel that's like completely flooded.
right. And that's the scene where they wake up one of the creatures that's in there, and he pursues them. Pretty much, he's like climbing on the ceiling as the water is rising, and they're going through like. And this is the scene you're talking about, like where Frodo is like on a fucking wood plank, like like goddamn Jack from Titanic.
Yeah, he's
like
just chill as can be.
And so they eventually they get to the point where there's no air, and they go underwater.
Yeah.
The creature drowns. You kind of see that
He died like immediately.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I can't breathe. I'm dead. And
Like,
then
"Bark."
and they all pop out like kind of like in like a hole in the street, basically.
Yeah, there's
like,
a hole in the street.
and
yeah.
And Frodo made it. Yeah, cats don't like water. That cat's a
Yeah.
fucking G.
He was fine. He's like, "You guys coming or what?"
Yeah, he was like sitting there like drenched. And I was like, awesome. Like we almost died. So they've kind of tracked. I thought that the subway scene was a little bit like rushed. I thought that they would have like more of a cat and mouse kind
like
of
chasing.
thing.
Yeah.
And then maybe that's part of what I was saying when I'm like, this is different than what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more like the first two, where like the chase scenes were like pretty
Yeah,
elaborate.
like, hide, distract it somehow.
Yep,
Hide
exactly.
again,
But I guess that makes sense because this is a prequel, and then the first and second movie they learn how to deal with them and how to have the traps that like with the bottles that hung to alert them, like all kinds of stuff. So they found ways to get around them. So now they're trying. I guess they haven't figured that out yet. So
they're not that quick.
Right. So they the two of them end up in a church. So Sam is resting. She's having a hard time with pain. She's unable to carry on. So Eric goes out to find a pharmacy to try to get her some pain relief. He finally gets Frodo, finally finds that damn cat at a construction site. Where there's a group of the creatures, and there's one big one, if you remember, feeding on the remains of like a pod. It was like these egg-shaped pods.
I was wondering what that was. Like, was that reproducing or?
So I was reading a little bit more, and it makes sense because like we've noticed like these creatures aren't eating the people.
No.
So what are they eating? How do they what's sustaining them? Something I don't know. Is that their food source? Are these pods this food source? Or maybe to your point, maybe they are reproducing and they also like eat their young like a fucking spider or some shit. Like,
right.
Maybe it's both. So it kind of gave us this was like the first like tidbit of like what they are or how they like how they are as an organism kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that they are eating that was, but that's all we got. That was it. It was like
no explanation.
Fucking one scene.
Chewing on a sack.
Exactly. Yes, chewing on a sack. So he rescues Frodo, and then Sam tells Eric that as a child she used to watch her dad play at this jazz club in Harlem, and they get pizza afterward at a restaurant called Patsy's, something that Sam always wanted to do before she died. So really, this whole like quest, she knows she's gonna die. Like at this point, she's terminal. She wants this pizza. So they fulfill her wish. They go to the club, and they notice that Patsy's is burned down or it has been closed. So,
but there was still pizza though, wasn't there?
Yeah. So Eric found like pizza from a nearby place, and he did this whole like magic trick thing. It was this whole like thing where he basically was almost like they were on a first date.
Yeah.
He had the pizza. They found, what was it? Was it bourbon or something from behind the bar? Poured a drink. He did a magic trick. And
didn't he put it in the box of the other place though?
I think so. I feel like maybe he found and he was like, it's not the same thing, but
but he put it in the box of the place she wanted.
Yeah, and at that point, by the time I'm like, after all they've been through, they're just kind of like they're enjoying like the small victory, I think, for the day. So we are approaching our ending here, as this is kind of like one scene where I think they did a really good job of kind of showing that human nature of like he understands like she's not going to get better, and he's trying to help her kind of like get comfort in her
in the most that she can, I guess.
Exactly. And I think in turn it also helped him having a connection with someone. So, but as we know in these movies, that is going to be short-lived because they kind of continue and they start to see the boats in the river that are filled with a lot of survivors that are escaping the island. As they leave, the creatures, they start to congregate along the shore so they can see the people on the boat, but they can't swim. So there's like a bunch of creatures
on the shore.
And there's all this traffic. So it's all these cars that are like abandoned on the highway and all these creatures that are going towards the water. So at that point, Sam does the most selfless thing, and she gives Eric her coat and Frodo and says, "Take care of my fucking cat." And she starts distracting them by smashing the car windows and triggers the
car alarms.
The car alarms, exactly. So the car alarms get activated and then pull the creatures away from the coast. Eric and Frodo at that point jump the wall, and there's basically like a mad dash. Like you see him running out on the dock to jump into the water, and the creatures are right behind him.
Yeah, they start coming after him. So
there's a pretty intense scene. He finally does make it. They both jump into the water, and they get pulled onto the boat by none other than Henry. So he lived. He made it.
Yep.
And so Eric finds a note at that point written in the jacket pocket saying to take care of Frodo and thanking him for reminding her how to live. So at that point, we think we're at the end. There's one final scene that I think is really good, but Yeah, that was like the most selfless act that she could take, and so she didn't die though.
No, yeah, she's
not
still alive.
there.
Not there.
So the last scene of the movie, you see Sam walking on a street as she's listening to. She got an iPad. Remember, her iPod died, and so she charged it. I think when they were in the church, she got it charged.
Either that or her apartment, one of the two.
Yeah, so she's listening to a song on her iPod, and she's kind of at this point, I think, accepted death, and so she unplugs her earphones, and then didn't she scream?
No,
I thought she yelled really loud.
She might have, or she just turned the music up.
And then
loud.
one of the creatures appeared behind her, and then it kind of cuts to black.
Yeah.
So
she's dead.
She and the way I see it, she's dead, but she kind of accepted death. I think this was as much a movie about like someone's journey with terminal illness as it is a creature movie. I think they kind of put two.
They blended them very well.
So overall, like, I really like this movie. I thought it was a lot of fun to watch. I probably will, once I always say I want to buy the movie, like I have a physical copy. I've been trying to do that, but then I'm like, I don't know how many of these fuckers they're gonna make, so I don't want to buy like the trilogy now.
You want to wait till you can get all 7 at Walmart for $5.
Yeah, or they're like finally done and they have like a box set or something. I'll get it, but like this is definitely worth a watch. I think it is a worthy prequel. I do have we've discussed. I have issues. I think they found out super quick that we can't talk.
Yeah,
I think
be
that
quiet.
we still didn't get a whole lot of background into why this is happening.
I want to know why they're obviously from space because they came from meteorites.
Exactly.
So it's like, what's up with that? And then don't you think the note in her pocket or his pocket would have been wet?
I suppose. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
He jumped in the water.
Yeah, I don't remember him like unwrapping it if it looked soggy or if it looked pretty dry.
I can't remember either, but I'm just gonna assume that it wasn't.
That's probably
so I can nitpick about it.
But yeah, on top of that, I thought visually it was very cool. I love any movie I'm a big post-apocalyptic movie fan, so like whenever you can have really inhabitable places like New York City that has millions of people and you can make it look desolate and destroyed, I think it's awesome.
I love it
It's
too.
a great landscape. I also, like I mentioned earlier, the sound was great, or lack of sound in certain areas.
Great,
I thought the actors did a great job. I thought the chemistry was good.
I love the creatures.
Yeah,
I love the design of the creatures.
The creatures are great. It's kind of like a bug meets a
like the monster from Cloverfield almost a little bit.
Yeah. That's that's
like a praying mantis ish
mixed with the one mixed with the Starship Trooper bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like they did a very good job with that. So I'm interested to see where this one goes with like John Krasinski. Kind of this is his
little
vision,
baby.
right? So like, where is he going to continue? Is he going to hand it off? You see a lot of times they'll hand things off,
especially after 3.
He's already handed off the producing. I think he was co-producer technically, but Michael Bay I think was the main.
Oh, was he
producing behind it? But I'm interested to see if he's still going to continue with like they're his stories.
Yeah,
so
I hope so, because if somebody else does it, they might fuck it up.
I do. I mean, but now that we've got a prequel, so now we've got like the prequel, then we got the first two movies. Like, where are we going to go? Are we going to go to like more pre stuff, or are we going to do more like on the original storyline, like years later kind of thing? So they could do a whole lot of.
Yeah, they can do a lot with it. Yeah,
we'll see where they go from here. So
plus, I find it hard like how they would be able to explain the creatures and their purpose. Like who would be able to even like figure that out? Because it's not like, oh, we're going into space to find out where these things come from. You know, it's set in modern times, not the future or anything like that. So like they might not be able to.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
I guess we'll find out if there's more. But if there was not another movie, I think that this would be a good trilogy. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Sure.
And one more thing I will say about the new, like it being set in New York, I think it was a perfect choice because if you think about New York, you've been in New York,
nope.
Yeah, no, okay, nope. Shit, okay. It really is like the city that never sleeps. Like it's always fucking
noise.
loud all the time. Like I remember when Charlie was little, she got sick, and I had to like walk to a Dwayne Reed at like 4 a.m. And it was like, I'm like, dude, it's like fucking middle of the day here.
Really?
Dude, there was so much going on. And so for a city to have to, that's that loud all the time, to have to like all of a sudden go quiet.
Shut up. Yeah.
Is a very cool concept. So.
Yeah. Well, didn't they say at the very beginning, like New York has like such and such decibels every second or minute or some shit like that?
Yep. And then they're like, this is the day it all went quiet. Boom. So, but that'll wrap it up for us. I guess we can do our, like, where we would rank this. Like, out of the 3?
or just?
I mean, we can do like on a scale of 1 to.
Oh, you want to do
like on 1 to 10? You know.
I'm sorry. I thought you were gonna say like rank the trilogy.
No, if we rank the trilogy, we can do that too. Shit.
Well, I'd have to watch the second one again because I don't remember much. So
I'd go. I mean, I would kind of put it in the order they came out. I think
1, 2,
1,
and 3.
2, 3.
I
might go like the original, then the prequel, then the second one.
Okay.
But they were all. I thought they were all enjoyable. So overall, I think I'd give, if I'm on my ranking of like a scale of 1 to 10 for this movie, I'd probably go like 6.5.
6.5.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I don't think. For a 7 and up for me is a pretty damn good movie. I thought this was really good. I had I had a few problems with it, but overall, like, it's solid by itself. But then if you take it into consideration with the others, it blends well.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. Mine's 6.5. Leaning towards a 7 versus leaning towards a 6. It was a good movie, great movie. Like, I would definitely rewatch it as many times as I've seen the first one, and I've watched the first one a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I own the first one, so like I would do the same thing,
As soon as it comes on streaming, I'll probably watch it again.
It's not free right now.
Right.
You could rent it now.
Once it's free, I will watch it again.
I'll watch it.
Exactly.
I already paid once to watch it.
So yeah. So a couple things just want to leave you with. Before David sends us off into the sunset here is keep an eye out for this episode to post. I should have it up in a couple of weeks. Also, if you haven't seen this news, I don't know how, if you're a horror fan, you listen to our podcast, but Alien Romulus comes out on the 15th. Yes. And I don't know if I've been this excited for a movie in a long ass time. So like a preview, our next podcast episode, it's probably going to be on that one, because once we see it, I'm going to have to get on here and talk about it.
Yeah, which we're going to record next week anyways.
Exactly. So I'm trying. We're going to go IMAX on Thursday. Got the tickets, so we're gonna rock and roll with Alien Romulus. Hopefully, it does not disappoint.
God,
so
I'd be so upset if it sucks.
Yeah, if it does, then you're gonna have a really angry podcast.
I feel like it can't. I feel like they fucked them up too many times the last few.
Yeah.
That they have no choice but to make something really good.
I hope so.
But
we'll see how it goes.
That's just my opinion.
Well, that's it from us.
All right, yeah, that's it for today's Sinister Scripts review of A Quiet Place Day 1. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into this creature film and enjoyed the review. And remember, check us out on all our social media platforms, which we gave to you at the beginning of the episode. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review wherever you may be listening. Share with your friends. If you didn't enjoy it, well, fuck you.
Choke on a dick.
Choke on it. Also, if you have any topics you'd like to cover or guests you'd like to hear from, feel free to DM us, drop us a comment, hit us up on social. I'd give you my number, but then you wouldn't leave me alone. Just, reach out to us. Let us know what you're feeling.
Speaking of interviews, I mean, I cut you off. David just got the opportunity recently to interview
Mr. Jamie Schmidt.
Jamie Schmidt, who just directed and wrote an independent slasher.
Are You Dead Yet?
So that is up. That video in its entirety for the interview is on our YouTube channel. You can check it out there. It is also on our Facebook. So if you haven't, go out there and check that out. That was a really fun time. And
it was a pleasure to talk to him. And we had a few drinks afterwards and talked a lot. And we're like best friends now.
And we hope to have him on the podcast soon. So be on the lookout for that as well.
He sent us the link to his movie. He did some reshoots to it last weekend. So we need to check it out so we can have him on the podcast and just kind of shoot the shit with him.
Yes, sir.
But anyways, thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.